My opening monologue has to deal mainly with where we're at on the card right now for tonight with AEW Dynamite. So far, we have, let's see what I got here. John Moxley's going to address the crowd tonight based on that all out wonderful package that apparently got all of the WWE grifting podcasters all up in arms because it was so violent. It was just so violent. Who approved this? Blah, blah, blah. And anyway, we got us a pretty hot match here. This is my match of the night prediction right here, actually. Jack Perry and Lio Rush are going to be going one on one for the TBS Championship. Or TNT, I'm sorry. Da da da. TBS is the female championship, my bad. Honestly, as much as I've been watching Lio Rush and Jack Perry, Jack Perry, I have become a fan of yours. Used to be a prominent detractor, but you know what? The work that Jack Perry's put in, especially for these last few pay per views, has just been off the charts. His character development is something to behold, and his storyline ability has gone up probably about 60 IQ points in the last year alone, which means it's brilliant, by the way. We've got Mariah May and Queen Aminata going at it for the AEW Women's World title. I think that's going to be a kicker match, too. Sammy Guevara and Ricochet are going to be kicking it off one-on-one. I like Ricochet for this match, but at the overall feel for the match is probably going to be somewhere around grand to a competitor with Jack Perry and Lio Rush for the actual match of the night. Then we're going to have the tag team casino gauntlet. I'm going to make a call right here. I'm making a prediction. Will Ospreay and his buddy and Kyle Fletcher. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher tonight team up, take this thing home, go after the Elite. I'm standing on that prediction. There have been enough breadcrumbs around for the last few days. Will Ospreay. God, why am I having such a hard time remembering his name today? Probably I'm just getting over sickness, but you get where I'm going with this thing. Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just coming off another illness. Bear with me here. Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay take the tag team casino gauntlet tonight. Calling it right now. I have heard a rumor that we are going to have a match with Bryan Danielson in it. And if that actually happens, that's fantastic. Very fantastic. I personally am 100% excited for it. Honestly, I think Dynamite tonight is going to far exceed WWE Raw. It's going to clear it by miles. And then one only has to figure out the Collision this year. What's Collision going to look like for Saturday? Tony's got his booking shoes on. Tony's got his brain engaged. Some of the best matches I've seen so far since I've been watching AEW. This is going to be a tight card tonight. I, for one, am personally happy with it. I love it. I'm ready for it. I'm seated. I think we're going to get a really good night of wrestling, professional wrestling. But I got a lot on my mind today. The level of grift that is going on right now with all of these TV deals floating around, the rumors, the speculation, it would seem to me, now, this is just me, not speaking for anybody, not speaking for other podcasters or anything, it would seem to me that if the product was actually in the mud, as your WWE funded media would like for you to believe, why are you so worried about what the other side's doing? Unless, and this is strictly unless the other side is doing an awful lot better than what you're projecting. And when something amazing happens, and you know, when Tony Khan puts on a pay-per-view, it's going to be something spectacular. Now, was there an excessive amount of violence in All Out? No. In fact, I was expecting a different end for Swerve and Hangman Page. That when the match actually ended, my initial reaction to it. No crap here. My initial reaction was, is that it? Because the amount and the delivery pretty much had my brain processing in such a way that I was expecting more. I don't think it went far enough. I think JR, I was really critical of JR in my mind for a little while, but then I rewatched the match and I got to thinking that his manner of portraying the violence was perfect. He sounded shocked. Tony Schiavone was shocked. Taz was shocked. Everybody was shocked. It's almost like Tony didn't let them have the book so they knew what they were walking into just to get their raw reaction on the mic. Because some of that stuff you just cannot make up. And yes, I agree. I was watching a train wreck, and I loved every single minute of it. But, true to form, you cannot have something nice without the jealous bitches of this world having something to say about it. That's right, Glenn. You're a bitch. I don't even have a problem with that. I really don't. And little old me, and I am little, I'm not the big podcaster. I don't have a boatload of views. I don't have a boatload of follows. I mean, I got 15 some change. Not really that big. Small account. That such a small account could get so much press out of you. I find that absolutely hilarious. So, with that said, welcome to yet another rant, which is where I find myself a lot of times. I make a comment, and a lot of my comments are good faith. Some of them are sarcastic. But this was a really good faith comment because Glenn Gilberti, otherwise known as Disco Water Gun Inferno, because there was never any fire about him at all. There just wasn't. See, Glenn, you forget. I watched you break into the business, son. You were okay for the first 3-4 weeks. After that, you were cold product. You were cold product most of the time. So I made the unfortunate mistake, and I say it's unfortunate because he was so offensive to people who just generally like the alternative. Yeah, I did like the violence. I will say this, WWE responded with a It's a Small World Disney affair on Monday. They took note. And on Monday, they responded with a very watered down match. Friday, I think the cage match is going to be extremely watered down. I'm not even crazy enough to think that WWE's got any blood planned for that. I don't think they have any real weaponry planned for that. I don't believe they have any real story planned for that. Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes are going to get in a steel cage. And they are going to have the most pillow fight match you have ever seen. And WWE fans will sit there and go, oh, this is awesome. And nothing will happen. It's like Monday night. Tables broke. People covered up with tables, getting hit with fire extinguisher. Dude had a trash can over his head. Repeated headshots to the trash can. Not a word out of them. Like a headshot in WWE is somehow safer than a headshot anywhere else. Glenn, you're a hack. You were born a hack. You were bred a hack. You wrestled like a hack. And guess what, son? You're still a hack. Now let's debunk a couple of things here, because I made you know what, his comments were getting a little bit out of hand. So I'm the one that made the comment, about being, a mid-carder that never got the book. And I thought by now you would have gotten over it. So Disco hops on his show after he's quote tweeted, done everything he could to get the kind of response he wanted. And a lot of people were sitting there going, no, he's kind of right about that. Of course, you got the few idiots that listen to him say things the way he says, oh, no, you don't understand. Disco was booking for two companies. No, he fucking was not. He was submitting ideas to Vince fucking Russo. Vince Russo was the booker. Oh, I worked in creative. That's funny. Yeah. There's a lot of people that worked in creative, and guess what, dumbass? They don't have the book either. The difference between me and you is, I you know what? You hit me with a shot. If it's accurate, it's accurate. I had a guy that was hitting me with shots the other night, totally accurate. I'm like, okay, that's right, move on. I'll eat that. Move on. But not Glenn Gilberty. He's got to do everything he can to get his clout. Maybe one of these days they'll let you out of your shoot job, sir. I mean, you're this famous booking wrestler. Why the hell is MLP not hitting you up? Oh, that's right. They've got a booker. Why is TNA not hitting you up? If you're such a fan-fucking-tastic booker, why are they not hitting you up? I got one for you. GCW is not hitting you up. I got one for you. OVW, not hitting you up. I don't know if AAA is going to hit you up because that's Conan's gig. Maybe he'll throw you a bone or something. Maybe he'll let you be the head booker for one fucking night so you can actually say you had the book in your hand. You made the decisions. As opposed to, I got an idea, Vince. That's nice. Just write it down, hand it to me, bro, and I'll look at it. That's your creative input. That's all the creative input you ever had. And let me tell you something. I couldn't see your fingerprints on a damn thing. Because it wasn't corny. It wasn't a 70s Don wannabe with an affection for fucking bell bottoms and disco balls in a time when we were trying to unremember that shit in the first place. If it had been corny or looked like a throwback from some era we were trying to forget, then I would have known you booked it. You're corny, man. Your takes are corny. Everything's corny. Some of them are good. You've had some good takes. I've heard a couple of them. I can't remember them. But here's the deal. When AEW goes to finalize a product, and this is for anything that's visual so it can be determined what to rate it, they have to hand over the script. Somebody has to look at the script and go, okay, well, this is PG, or this is TV 14, or this is TV MA. Do you think, do you, this is the crazy part right here. Do you think anything on television just throws a script together, slaps it up on TV, and waits for it to get rated? What planet do you live on, son? Really? What planet do you live on? All Out was a great blend of things, and I want to be honest with you. If I was going to try to review WWE Raw, but I couldn't. I was honestly going to try to review NXT from last night because we had a fantastic debut with Julia, but I couldn't. I think her match was the only match in like the first two or three that even actually ended. There was absolutely nothing of entertainment value last night except for just those few minutes, and only because I wanted to see exactly how bad they were going to nerf her. Come to find out, they nerfed her pretty good. I thought they would have given her a little bit more free reign for that match because, Chelsea Green worked the indies for a long time before she got into WWE. And I thought to myself, okay, they're pairing her up with Chelsea Green. I know outside of the WWE system, Chelsea Green can go. Because I've seen her outside of the WWE system. I know she can go, and I thought, well, now this is an interesting matchup. It didn't deliver on the level I wanted it to, that I thought it could. So there's three things I did not do. Number one, I didn't take to social media to question the bookers. That's right. I didn't say who the hell's booking this shit. I did make the exact comment that I just made to you. I would have thought that having, a good indie background wrestler in the ring with someone who can go was a good idea. It just didn't deliver on the level I thought it was going to deliver on. And that's not a shot, that's not a slight to either one of them. It was just trying to work within the system. I recognize those things. I didn't hop on social media and go, oh my God, they've already buried Gulia. No, because that would have been a dumb comment. Just like the dumb comment that Disco throws out there. Somebody in the back thought this was a good idea. Everybody in the back thought it was a good idea, you dumb fuck. Everybody thought it was. And you want to know who else thought it was a good idea? My 23-year-old son who'd never seen a pay-per-view in his entire life. He's like, nah, I'm hooked. Let me know when the next one is. Those are the people who thought it was a good idea, and we are the people that paid the money, and we thought it was a good idea. I have yet to see the post anywhere where somebody goes, well, damn, All Out didn't deliver. I wish I could get my $50 back. I remember in the birthing of social media, whenever WWE put on a pay-per-view that wasn't very good, Facebook was loaded with comments like, wow, that pay-per-view sucked. I want my money back. I saw a lot of that. I have yet to see one person buy an AEW pay-per-view and go, you know what? Wasn't worth the $50. And another thing AEW does that WWE did not do is when they get to their premium pay-per-views like All In, things like that, they don't jack the rates up. I don't know if anybody remembers buying WWE pay-per-views, but the WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble were like $20 more than a regular pay-per-view. And there were a lot of people back there, and it's like, damn, I wish I could get my money back on this. This sucked. Well, how do you know that? I worked for Spectrum at the time. It was Time Warner Cable. And I was in the refund processing department. So, yeah, we get a lot of those for WWE events. Some for some UFC events. Not a lot of them. But every once in a while, we'd get one call in talking about, I want my money back. That pay per view sucked. I don't hear of anybody calling for it. So it must not have been a bad one. So what's you guys' problem with this? AEW is intent on being a different company from WWE. They tried being like WWE. It didn't work out. In fact, it made for some pretty shitty programming because WWE has a bigger machine. They have house shows. They work out all their kinks at the house shows. Tony doesn't do house shows, so he's got nowhere to work out his kinks. Now, if he did house shows every week, he could probably lean a little bit of the product like WWE. In fact, if I were him, one of the things I thought about with some of these new shows is maybe you start some house shows and work out your kinks in the house shows. Have at least one every other week. You don't have to do it every single week. You don't have to be on the road for months and months and months at a time and things like that. If I could offer a suggestion, that's what WWE does with their house shows. They work out their creative kinks at the house shows. So I'm thinking maybe if you instituted a house show or two every month, that would give you an idea to where to work out your creative. But seeing as you don't have it, you got to work it out live. I don't see anybody really, really going, oh, this is a crappy ass show, because it's not. And Tony Khan is the king of pay-per-views. I say this every single time I cover a pay-per-view for AEW. If I cover a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, it's top shelf. And that's their developmental product, so to speak. So I don't understand the personal bias. You know, I really, really try to find something good about WWE, and if I can't do it, I don't cover it. I don't get on here to trash a show. Because there's a lot of fans out there that just don't want to hear it. Guess what? There's a lot of fans in AEW that don't want to hear your shit either. They tune in for insight, not opinions. And your opinion, Glenn, was a shitty opinion. If you tried, you couldn't make a shittier opinion. If you actually put all three of those working brain cells you got left together, you couldn't come up with it. So just stop, man. You put out a shit opinion, you got blasted, you didn't trigger a damn soul, but I triggered you. So much that you had to quote tweet it, you have to mention it on your show, and I got something else too. You fucked up on that one. You told Brody King he might ought to watch his mouth. I think you might ought to watch your mouth. Because I'm not Brody King, but if I was Brody King and I saw you at a convention, I'd knock your fucking brains out. I'm serious. Talking about he better watch his mouth. You better watch your mouth there, dude. We're all getting old here. We don't need to be talking shit about people that could go better than we could go. Not that I've been in a ring. I have not. Nobody run out and say that I have competed in a professional wrestling match. I have not. I've done a lot of amateur wrestling. But I never once competed in a pro wrestling match. But I think I could go better than him. That's not a joke. That's not me being better than somebody or anything like that. That's my personal belief. I think a lot of people, even in his time, had to sit behind that stupid ass gimmick. For whatever reason, WCW was in love with it. Dude, your matches were a piss break, okay? You never put on a match that I felt like watching. And nobody around me cared for it either. You were the joke over the table, man. At lunch, at school. You were the walking joke. Hey, did you see what Disco did last night? Yeah, it was fucking stupid, too. Yeah, that was the typical conversation. Just so you know. I'm sure you had fans. Every wrestler in every industry has a niche group of fans. But for the most part, the majority of us were just like, you're a fucking joke. Now, Conan, not a joke. Nobody ever looked at Conan as a joke. You need to quit riding his coattails, grow a set of nuts, and start learning how things work around here, man. You sound like a blithing fool. No kidding. No kidding at all on that. But enough on that jackass. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. Let's break down some of these matches. Let's get it going. I want to talk about the main match that I want to talk about is, to be honest with you, let's talk about that Ricochet match. We got Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara has shown in the last couple of weeks that he has the ability to move, groove, and make it stick. We know what Ricochet can do. We absolutely, without question, know what Ricochet can do in the ring. And he's looking even better. The match with Kyle Fletcher was an absolute banger. Now, I would have liked to have seen it gone maybe 5 more minutes because I think they still had enough left in the ring that they hadn't shown anybody. And maybe with Sammy Guevara, we're going to get that extended match because I'd like to see them work this match at least 10, 15 minutes. I'm not going to lie. Because I think a lot of the AEW hardcore fans, I ran into some fans that did not know that Ricochet worked at WWE, and how you cannot know that is beyond me. But since that exists, there is a strong possibility that you may have people in the audience that feel that way. And it would probably be a great idea to give him a little bit more face time on this match. Maybe drag it out just a little bit just so everybody can see his full moveset. I'll tell you the match I'm looking forward to if Tony ever books it is Ricochet and Hologram. That's going to be a match. Or a 3-way between Ricochet, Hologram, and Will Ospreay. Could you imagine a triple threat like that? I can't. Not yet, anyway. I mean, it's one of those things that you sit there and you dream about, you think about it, and everything else, and it just never. I kind of feel like we won't see that match until next year, if at all, because we got to keep Hologram going. Hologram's got a undefeated streak going. And if I've got to decide between Ricochet and Hologram and I have the book, I can't even figure out whether I would want Ricochet to go over or whether we'd want to have a time limit draw. Have a 20-minute match, time limit draw, 20 minutes. Ricochet and Hologram, have it end in a draw. Doesn't hurt anybody, makes everybody look spectacular. And I do like the idea of a division with Ricochet, Lio Rush, Hologram, and the couple of backups that they're bringing behind that. They are bringing in some new characters, fresh faces, everything else. I would like to see a junior heavyweight division where everybody can thrive. The junior heavyweight could even be the curtain jerker to get the day started. Get the pulse up, get the fans going, so on and so forth. Just about got enough to pull that off, but I got Ricochet going over Sammy Guevara. I just hope they give that match enough time to breathe. Let's see where we're at here. Tag team casino gauntlet match. I can think of a dozen tag teams that could probably show up. I really, really am still standing on my prediction with Ricochet and Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher showing up as a cohesive tag team and winning that tag team casino gauntlet match because it creates an interesting dynamic. So you have to remember, Will Ospreay was in the Don Callis family. He left the Don Callis family with a partial blessing from Don Callis. So at one point in time, they were in the same family together. And Ricochet and Kyle Fletcher together are going to steal the show if they show up. Not saying they're going to. It's not a spoiler. It's a fantasy booking at best. I'm not trying to spoil anything. If they show up in this match, it's over with. They win. And the Young Bucks would actually have to show up for that fight. I don't think they could phone that bad boy in. I just don't. My prediction, Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher team up, win the tag team casino gauntlet match, go on to face the Young Bucks. Mariah May and Queen Aminata. I'm conflicted on this match. Queen Aminata's got a moveset that I haven't seen in a woman in a long time. She carries herself well in the ring. She wrestles damn fine and is championship material. Now, the question is she AEW Women's Championship material? World Championship? Is she TBS Championship material? Or is she one of Tony Khan's new titles that we keep hearing about? Is she that? Who knows? Nevertheless, I think we're going to get a barn burner of a match out of this one. I'm still not sure if it's going to be the match of the night. I'm pretty sure it won't be that far off. I think Dynamite's going to deliver at a pace that we have not seen in several months, because finally, if I look at things for what they are and not what I want them to be, it seems to me like Tony is starting to lean into this sicko thing, which tells me everything's going to be balls to the wall, fire under your feet, whole 9 yards. Will we get that out of this match? Yes, we will. Who's going to win it? I would like to see Queen Aminata at least win in a Dairy Queen, a time limit draw, something along there to protect what she's doing right now on the other shows. Because even though there's no shame to losing the women's world title match, it's still a loss. So I'm not exactly sure which way I want to go with this. Conventional wisdom says Mariah May goes over in a pinfall. I'd like to see it go to a time limit draw, a Dairy Queen, something like that, a DQ. If they're not going to outright give Queen Aminata a pin, which I doubt they will because it's a title match. But I think it should at least go the distance or close to the distance. I think Mariah May should have to work this match because they have built Queen Aminata up so high that it would almost be disappointing to walk in there, her wrestle Mariah May, gets squashed in 5 minutes or less, kills the whole push. But, they may surprise us. I doubt they'll surprise us, and I do believe that Mariah May walks out of the building with the title, be it by time limit draw or a DQ, but I think she walks out of the building with the title. Jack Perry and Lio Rush. Lio Rush does something where he's running the ropes and he somehow can pivot his body and change the direction in which he's running ropes. A lot of them are getting into that now. It's the new thing, but he was the first thing before the new thing. Jack Perry, like I said, earned a lot of respect out of me. He's done a lot more character development to date. Like in the last, in the last 6 months. He's done enough character development to date. He should have been ranked higher on the PWI 500, in my opinion. Jack Perry, Lio Rush, without a question, I'm saying this right now, is going to be the match of the night because I think Lio Rush is going to go out there and work 100 miles an hour like his hair's on fire, like he always works, at least this run in AEW, and the run I've seen him on the Indies. And Jack Perry has a chip on his shoulder, rightfully so, because I was one of the ones not even a month ago responsible for that chip, talking about what a shitty performer he was. I admit it. I own that. I apologize. I was wrong. Jack Perry is a phenomenal worker. He worked with Bryan, and I think it took the Bryan Danielson match to get me over with Jack Perry, because I think we can all agree that that one spot where they hit and both of them seemed to go left, right instead of front, back, it looked like it almost defied gravity. I don't know if they experimented with that. I don't know if they practiced that. Or if they were just going to go, let's call it in the ring, see what happens, and see if we can make some magic. Either way, the magic that they made in that match made me a fan of Jack Perry. Jack Perry, everything I ever said about you, a lot of it was, maybe there, but I apologize. I owe you that. Because you have shown me over the last couple of months that not only are you a force to be reckoned with, not only can you not be buried, but if somebody tries to bury you, you can pivot and come back with that burial over your shoulder. Going, is this what you guys left? You guys left something behind. Now then, we get to the Jon Moxley addressing thing here. I am pretty sure this is going to be filler, at least to kick off the feud of the split. Here's what's going to happen with that. Here's what's going to happen. A few months ago, leading up to Double or Nothing, the Elite pulled off their little coup in the ring. Jack Perry, this was one of the things I criticized Jack Perry about because I thought it was a really smelly segment. Jack Perry hits Tony Khan with the mic, does some shit. The Elite come out, finish the job off. Spike power drive, I forget what they pile driver. I forget what they call it. Don't really matter. It's a spike pile driver. And they declared that they were taking over AEW. Fell flat. Fell flat as a pancake and not twice as thick. Thin as a sheet of notebook paper. It was just bad. Now, Jon Moxley shows up out of the blue for a shit crowd who didn't know his entrance music, didn't know how to pop for it twice. Not just once, twice. And his words to Tony Schiavone were, this is not your company anymore. Those words stuck in my head as part of the storyline. Now here we are full circle. We get to All Out. Bryan Danielson successfully defends his title. You think we're getting a family reunion in the ring, and boom, Claudio Castagnoli. European uppercut, knocks him down. Bryan Danielson's got that look on his face like he just saw titties for the first time. And all of a sudden, a plastic bag out of nowhere over his head, suffocated. It's a movie, guys. Get over it. Jon Moxley and the Combat Club are going to show the Young Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry how to successfully take over. Now I have a couple of possibilities for this. Number one, I think we get a return of Anna Jay out of this, but more importantly, yeah, I dropped that little breadcrumb right there. By the way, like, comment, share. Hey, we got 20 viewers out there. This is freaking awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for sticking with me on this. I usually try to acknowledge every 15 or 20 minutes or so. But getting back to what I was saying here, what if? Because you got to look at the situation here. The only non-former WWE, and I may even be wrong about this, I don't remember seeing Wheeler Yuta in WWE. If he was there, somebody drop a chat and let me know when he debuted, where he wrestled, what programs he worked in. I don't think he wrestled in WWE. I don't think Wheeler Yuta wrestled there. But Pac, Claudio, you know, Pac, Claudio, Bryan Danielson, they all wrestled for WWE. And her name escapes me at the moment, and it shouldn't, and I apologize. The Enforcer, she wrestled in WWE. So what if, and this is pure speculation, but it's also something I'm standing on right now. I think everybody was so hard looking for the Shane McMahon reveal at All Out that we could have missed a very important breadcrumb. And the reason I say that is the way these matches have been turning out lately, and then I go back and I look at the breadcrumbs when I look at it for what it was. Because even in the match on Collision, coming in the main event of Collision on Friday night, if you noticed, Bryan Danielson heading down, everybody else backed up just a little bit. They were already showing the separation. We missed it. And rightfully so. I like it when they drop breadcrumbs and now you got to start thinking about what's what. What if we get the Shane McMahon reveal tonight and he is behind the demise of the Blackpool Combat Club? What if? The breadcrumbs are there. So I'm going to stand on that one right now and say that we get a Shane McMahon reveal tonight, and that's what Jon Moxley's going to be talking about more than anything in the world. They marched out of that arena in single file, like an army, like a military. It is blatantly obvious. I don't want to go all the way. See, at least with the Tag Team Casino Gauntlet and seeing Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay lovingly joking back and forth. Even Sky Booty got into it, and that was really cool. But what if Shane McMahon is the puppet master in this story? What if Shane McMahon's already in AEW? What if Tony Khan learned how to keep a secret? What if? So, yeah, we've got that. We've got the Jon Moxley popping out there, and I'm thinking that this is going to be the Shane McMahon reveal. I do believe in the next week, if not by Collision, Dynamite following, we're going to get an Anna Jay sighting because she has represented AEW very well in Japan, learned a lot, come back. I think she's going to be 100% better than she was when she went in. That's saying a lot. But I still just can't get out of my mind this Jon Moxley thing here because that's what's been brewing in my head most of the day besides dumbass Disco and his stupid attempts to bury me. What if we get Shane tonight? Now, I've already seen a couple of tweets or posts or whatever we're calling them now that this is X. Shout out to 24 people, by the way. Thank you. That we are not going to get the television deal revealed at least this week. But what if we get the TV deal revealed at the same time? If all of that happens, if Shane McMahon pops out of the birthday cake, if Shane McMahon pops out of the Easter egg, That meltdown that we had after All Out, hey, that's going to pale in comparison to the traitor, turncoat, asshole, loser sun post that we're going to get. And it's going to be beautiful. Where there's smoke, there's fire. The term shockwave's been getting thrown around a lot. I have not seen anything from my TV buddies talking about placement on it yet. I do have some buddies in television that I can ask, that I worked with significantly when I was at Time Warner, then again when I was there at Spectrum. I could reach out and ask and say, hey, is this thing hitting the slate? Is this what's going on? What's the deal? Because everybody talks. I'm just leaving it alone because it seems to me that Tony Khan may actually get a show on Fox to fill that time slot that SmackDown left behind. Can you imagine the meltdown? If we get Shane McMahon in AEW, and I got another one on my mind that we've been talking about on the show that I really follow, Covalent TV, and you should follow them too. I mean, they're the ones that got me into this. They're the ones that encouraged and inspired me to do what I'm doing right now. I think that if we got Shane McMahon, the TV deal, and Rhea Bloody Ripley, the liquor sales nationwide would go through the roof because I just don't think the WWE drones could stand it. I don't. I don't believe it. Let's see here. Anyway, there's a discussion about Shockwave going on Fox. I'm all for it. The only thing that I would like to have a discussion on is what the format of the show would be. I have seen a lot because I actually read a lot. I keep my ears to the streets. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what people are saying. I want to know what people are thinking. What I have been able to pull out of that at the moment is that everybody likes the idea of Shockwave. They just don't want it to be another Rampage. And I agree. One of the ideas that I heard that was actually a really good idea. See, when I see dumb things, I talk about them, but when I see smart things, I talk about them too. So I don't just go out there looking for idiots to post stupid stuff. I go out there for the smart post too. And somebody said, and I cannot remember their name, if you see this show, be happy to drop your name underneath it because I can't remember names right now. Once again, just coming out of a pretty serious illness. What if they gave Rampage to Ring of Honor as a feature segment for Ring of Honor and then turned Shockwave into something like a Dynamite for Fox? Now, of course, the language and so on and so forth, I think they'll have to go in there and tell them with a straight face, like, look, man, y'all know we cuss, right? Y'all know we got some blood, right? Before we get too deep into this deal, y'all know this is what we do, right? That way Fox knows exactly what they're getting because people were like, oh, when it goes on Fox, they censored SmackDown so much. No, they censored SmackDown out of pure hatred. Because there was a point in time when they didn't censor it that bad. They just realized how far over the table they got bent and how deep it actually went. So they're like, you know what? Screw this. You're not getting that comment in. You're not getting that comment in. Holy shit can go wholly completely out the wall. The only thing they're not doing right now is a This Is Awesome chance. Pretty much anything else, they're muting it just out of sheer hate. Don't get it twisted. Fox hates WWE. They are so happy that WWE is gone They're probably having a board party right now. They're probably going to celebrate WWE on USA with a dartboard with WWE superstars on it, throwing darts at it. That's how mad they are at the WWE. They lost twice what the deal was worth. So not only did they not break even, did they not make money, they lost what they put in, plus God knows what else. So yeah, that's why it is. And USA's probably put their foot down and said, look, you can do anything you want after 10 o'clock. Do you want to book this show at 9 o'clock and then have your 10 o'clock hour go crazy? Be my guest. But you're not going to do this stupid shit on our shows. Not on our network. But they didn't have a home for SmackDown, and, USA lost Raw, so maybe USA wants SmackDown again, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to get the same warm welcome they got before. Tony Khan will go in there and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what you get. This is where we need to be. And I will guarantee you that they will give him that deal, and they will not, let me say this again, they will not overly censor the show, because it's two people in the business of making money, as opposed to a WWE agreement where there's one person in this business making money and everybody else is losing. The one thing about Tony Khan is he does do good business. Such good business that he let Stephanie Vaquer walk out. She wanted to go to WWE. She made it plain. He didn't offer her a bag. He tried. He's like, this is what I can give you. But he's not going above and beyond, because everybody knew at some point in time during that really, really quick contract switch that she really wanted to go to WWE. But everybody else, Tony's been all in for. And he has signed a lot of free agents. He has a roster to do 3 or 4 additional shows and still not use everybody he's got. Which brings me into the end of this thing here, because we're getting close to being done. I really wasn't going to give Disco that much of my time, that much of my patience, and that much of my effort. A pipsqueak, look, I work a shoot job. For those of you who don't know what a shoot job is, that's a real job. That's a job that has a regular paycheck and blah, blah, blah. I'm not ashamed of that. I do this literally in my spare time until it becomes my full time. This is my goal. This is where I'm going. When it becomes my full time, I'll be here full time. But for right now, I have a job, and I'm not even the least bit ashamed of that. I enjoy working for a living. I enjoy putting hard work in. That's not something you should be ashamed of. When somebody tells you, oh, just go work your shoot job, you should be standing there going, hell yeah. And I'm proud I'm doing that, and I'm proud I'm giving back to the wrestling community. But no, you had to go and fucking get triggered. That's on you, kid. Period. So that's all the energy I'm giving you today. But I would like to close with this. Tony Khan has the best of just about every single thing. And when he ties up this junior heavyweight thing, when he ties up Leo Rush, when he ties up Ricochet, ties up a couple of more that'll fit in there. There's a few coming out of Rev Pro. When he ties up that junior heavyweight division, he will have the most balanced roster probably in the last 35 years, if not longer, of any wrestling promotion doing it today. And I'm talking about New Japan. I'm talking about Marigold, which half of y'all can't even tell me what the only sex of Marigold is. I'm talking about Rev Pro. I'm talking about WWE too, by the way. He will have the most balanced roster ever in the history of professional wrestling. Why he would not want 2 more shows across maybe even a couple of more networks, who knows? Get that product out there. It's new. It's relatively unscathed. It's got a few scandals with it, but it's relatively unscathed. Get that product out in the masses. Get that show out there. But for now, I didn't really want to go longer than about an hour today because I've got to protect my voice and I'm still getting over everything else. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and go for right now. I'm probably going to go live again Friday. I've got to go do my shoot job. Not really. I've got to go to a doctor's appointment tomorrow and it's very far away. So, I'll have to handle that. Then I'll probably go live on Friday, and I'll definitely have your AEW Collision show Saturday. Nothing from WWE. I will also have some Rampage thoughts and so on and so forth. But the main thing that I want us all to do here is I want us to enjoy the products. Now, you see a bunch of us sitting here bashing one side and talking about the other, and I'm not really bashing them. The truth isn't a bash. The truth is the truth. If you happen to have dirty laundry in the laundry chute, that's your laundry, son. The chute is still the chute. The chute will be the chute whether it's got your dirty laundry or not. Let's all just try to enjoy each other's friendship. And let's enjoy what we enjoy and let everybody else enjoy what they enjoy. That's why I don't cover WWE shows that much anymore. I'll cover a plea, and I may cover this NXT coming up because it looks like it's got a pretty dynamite card to it, pun intended. But I don't cover WWE a lot because I never have anything good to say about it analytically. Now, from a fan perspective, I have lots of good things to say. From a fan perspective, a lot of their stuff is entertaining. From an analytical standpoint, which is what this show is more analytical, I don't cover WWE and I'm not covering it because I don't have anything good analytically to say. The presentation is great. But that's kind of like buying a Fiero and buying a Lamborghini kit and slapping the Lamborghini kit on the Fiero. At the end of the day, it's still a Fiero. It looks good. It doesn't go as fast as a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or any other kit that you put on top of it, but it looks good. But at the end of the day, it's still a fucking Pontiac Fiero with a 4-cylinder engine in it, mid-engine, rear engine, however you want to call it. But it looks good. That's WWE to me. WWE stories look good. I can be entertained. If I have to look at it from an analytical standpoint, it ruins the show completely. I can look at AEW from an analytical standpoint and still enjoy the show. That's why I cover it. I can look at Ring of Honor analytically and still cover the show. I have not seen MLP yet, but we got the pay-per-view coming up in October. I'm already paid and seated. Then I'll be able to say something more definitively about MLP. Looking at that pay-per-view card they've got, though, looks like it's going to be shit hot. That's fact. Shout out to 25 viewers, too. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. And I cover the NWA because that's what I grew up watching, and the product that they've got in the ring now is so very close to it that I've decided I'm going to cover NWA because I can look at it analytically and enjoy. I can look at GCW analytically and enjoy the show. But I have to look at WWE as a fan, non-analytically. Because if I look at it analytically, not only do I not enjoy the show, then I come on here and piss off a whole bunch of people telling you about what I didn't enjoy about the show, why it sucked, and why and why and why. So I prefer not to do that. So my moniker going forward is, let's stay in our lane. Let's enjoy what we enjoy. And let everybody else enjoy what they enjoy. Reason being, there's a lot of people that love WWE. Not as much as there were for the Attitude Era, which I love you drones. You drones are talking about 2.5 million. And when I was in WWE watching it hot and heavy during the Attitude Era, we were talking 8, 10, 12, 15 million. Big difference. But enjoy what you enjoy and let everybody else enjoy what they enjoy. If you want to be analytical about it, be analytical about it. Put up something ahead of time like I used to do when I covered WWE shows, where I would say, warning, I'm going to give you a fan perspective, then I'm going to give you an analytical perspective. And the fan one you're going to like, the analytical one not so much. It's like last night. If I were covering NXT, I would have said that Giulia had a mediocre reveal. And what do you mean mediocre? God damn, she went in there. But nobody knew who she was. Thunder Rosa was exactly right about that. They have dropped the ball on her presentation. I mean, people are now just cheering because they know they're supposed to cheer for this person. They don't have any idea. I was sitting there watching last night and somebody was like, wow, Giulia's English is really good. Of course it's good. It's been good for a long time. But then again, we didn't have that in an introductory package, so nobody knew. Everybody just expected her to walk in with a don't with the Japanese kick. And when it didn't happen, I literally watched tweets going, wow, she speaks good English. No shit. WWE did not do a very proper job of introducing her to that market, to their audience. I knew who she was, which made it even worse because when I'm trying to cover, if I'd have tried to cover the match, I would have had to point out that she was so nerfed that she'd be the $4.99 Nerf gun on the shelves if I'm covering it analytically. Now, if I'm covering it from a fan perspective, I still think the match went too long. I thought it should have been a squash for her introduction. But I appreciate that she let Chelsea work and Chelsea let her work. And they got in a couple of dope spots. So as a fan, I could appreciate the match. But from an analytical standpoint, y'all wouldn't have appreciated that at all. But that's my analytical view of it. Giulia is about 150 times that. She's only a couple of steps below Jacob Fatu. She does the table spots. She does the blood. She does all of it. She does the last woman standing. She does the cage matches with blood and violence. She's capable of working at the speed and pace of what Jacob Fatu is capable of if they weren't nerfing his ass too. But none of y'all would have known that because it wasn't introduced that way. Now, they did introduce her as somewhat of a badass. The match was awesome, and Chelsea worked her ass off. Giulia worked her ass off, and they put on a damn good match from a fan perspective. So that's why I say just let people enjoy what they enjoy, and you enjoy what you enjoy. And since a lot of podcasters are incapable of doing that, you got to start calling them out every single time. You got to start holding your media to the fire the same way you expect them to hold everybody else's media to the fire. There should be no Disco getting on there going, oh, I think they went too far. You never main evented a fucking thing, dude. You don't know anything about going too far. And you never had the book. I'm going to keep driving that shit home because working in creative and running creative are two different things. You word that in such that you mislead people to believe that you were actually a booker. You weren't. You were a storyline idea writer. That's about it. But we whitewashed history and everything else, so there's not even really a way to step into it except that one off quote where someone was interviewing you and they fact-checked it themselves and they kept saying it worked under Vince Russo. Vince Russo was the booker in TNA. Vince Russo was the booker at WCW. Kevin Sullivan was a booker. Disco Inferno, if he was a booker, I sure as hell didn't see his fingerprints on anything. But that's enough. I'm going to get out of here. I've been over here a little bit longer than I wanted to be because I want to save my voice for a couple other things that we've got going on here. We're still going to WrestleCade. It's not going to be as big as I wanted it to be, but we're going to be there. I'm trying to figure out in what capacity at this point, but we're going to be there. I've got tickets. I've got the whole 9 yards. I'm going to do my best to get as many interviews as I can get and bring them back to you. That's been my goal the whole time, is to see how much work I could get done there, to see if I could pick up some stuff, some insight with some wrestlers that I appreciate and things like that. And there's going to be some old ones there, going to be some young ones that I appreciate really well. But the big thing of it is I don't want to come out with that love somebody crap, because I know how it is. I have a hard time loving a lot of people. I'm not going to put that on anybody, but definitely let's just let people enjoy what they enjoy. And if you want to be analytical about it, be analytical about your stuff first. You see, I can be analytical about AEW, and they give me something to sink my teeth into. WWE, nah, not so much. But with that said, we've got 28 viewers online here, and that is just a beautiful thing. Thank you very much. But I'm going to go ahead and close this show out for right now. We will definitely be back probably Friday about this time, and definitely we're going to be here Saturday about this time. Then we're going to have a show about AEW Collision. We're going to close that one out and wrap that one up in a bow. I really appreciate the dedicated viewers. I really do. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget, bookmark my page. Follow me. I don't care. I'll follow you back for the most part, unless you're a porn bot, which it doesn't appear any of you are. But I really appreciate everything y'all do for me, and I hope I'm doing as much back for you. I hope I'm giving the love back that you're getting. And I just want to say good afternoon, America, wherever you are. Let's enjoy Dynamite tonight. Have a good evening.